Thinking about buying new construction, there's a lot more to it than picking your favorite floor plan. I'm Lauren. This is Raul. We are with the Schrader Group. And today we're walking you through what it really looks like to buy new, from builder incentives to blue tape walks. Let's talk incentives.
Okay.
Builders are always advertising them, but what do they really mean?
Yeah, so I think there's three buckets that you really want to look at. There's the closing cost assistance, there's going to be the rate buy downs or fixed rates, and then there's going to be design center if we are building from scratch. So the first one is going to be where the builder is giving you closing cost assistance, to where if you were to go get a $300,000 loan, normally it's between 2 to 3% with the origination and all the fees that are aligned with that. So let's just say anywhere between 6 to 9 grand. So if you have $15,000 in closing costs, you are going to be allocating 6 to 9,000 here, but then you might have some left over. With that left over, you could go into what's called a rate buy down, to where you could throw that 5 or 6 grand towards lowering your interest rate, because right now the prime's anywhere between 6.5 to 7%.
Right.
Well, maybe you could get it down to a 6 or a little bit lower. The rate buy down incentive that builders ask for or are offering right now, sometimes it's a 2-1 buy down, which means your first year might be a 3.99 and then a 4.99 on your second year, and then in your third year you get to a fixed 5.5 or whatever that fixed rate might be. Or they do what's called a fixed all the way flat buy down, where you might just be at a 4.99 for 30 years rather than the step down process. That's what we would call the rate buy down. And a lot of builders out there are offering that, which is really incentivizing buyers, because they're able to have the peace of mind that their interest isn't going to raise on them, or that they can afford that monthly payment. They don't have to worry about the market going up or down or having to refinance later. Now, the third bucket would be the incentives to the design center. So let's just say you're building a house and you want to go to the design center and you pick all these great things. Well, they're going to give you a credit. And once that's absorbed, say it's 10 or 20 grand, once that's absorbed, then you got to pay the difference out of pocket, right? Or a certain down payment of that difference. So that's a really good portion. And then every once in a while, you get the fourth bucket, which is kind of like, hey, we'll do a move-in package, maybe washer, dryer, fridge, blind package, things like that. So there's a lot of different incentives that the builder is doing to incentivize. And on the resale side, we call that seller concessions, where the seller concedes some sort of nominal value, or the builders are calling it incentives, incentivizing our buyers to go out there and purchase because they got the best rates, the best closing cost assistance, or the best kind of next tier that you won't get on the resale market.
Yeah, love incentives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's free money. You might as well take advantage of it.
So why is it when you write a contract with new construction, you pay earnest? How is that different than pre-owned?
Yeah, so really, it really depends on the price point, because there's some people that, or some builders out there that if we are doing a, say, $300,000 or $400,000 house, they might only ask for 5 to 7 or 8 to 10 grand, right? Not too bad. When we do resale, the normal is 1%. So if we're buying a $500,000 house, you're paying $5,000 as earnest money, right? Earnest is basically the buyer saying, I intend to buy this house, so I want you to take the house off the market. So in case anything happens, like with financing or anything tied to that on that side of the aisle, then we're able to get that money back. But if you just decide to change your mind because you like that house better, then they're going to keep it. So it's basically your skin in the game to allow the builder to say, you're serious. We want to make and sell this house to you. We're going to do everything to appease you, but you got to put a little skin in the game. So earnest money is one of those things that in any transaction, in order to be executed, you got to exchange a monetary value. And that's what earnest money is. It's your intent to purchase that home.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah. Smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it keeps people involved, right? And it allows the builder to do what you want them to do, make change orders, make anything to appease you, to get you to your excited moment, right? So where you're super thrilled and you're ready to move into that new house. That's kind of their way of saying, hey, you're serious too, because you put up the money. And you got to go through the loan program and all that other stuff to make sure that you're doing your part. But that's another conversation.
Can you explain the difference between a quick move-in home and a built from the ground up, the pros and cons?
Yeah. So the easiest way to say it is an inventory home is considered on the market and can close within 30 days. To be built home is where you're going to go pick a lot. You're going to go to design center, use some of those incentives if they have any, and then you're going to plan the house the way you want it. So it's almost like you're going to go and pick, apples to apples, what you want, right? On a home to be built. Inventory, you might have the same floor plan that you might like, but it might have different backsplash or different floor coverings.
Right.
So you might be giving up a little bit, but the main difference is you're picking and choosing everything in the house you're building versus something that's already built. Now, sometimes that house is ready to go, you might get better incentives or a better deal on the home
Right.
because for the builder, they're seeing it as stagnant money, right? They're paying interest on that house. They're doing all these things to keep the grass mowed, cut, water, all these utilities that go into place. So sometimes they might be more eager to give a discount or a deal or more incentives on an inventory ready, where they might not on a predetermined build,
Right.
which is everything you picked.
Right.
It might be your dream home, but
Right.
sometimes we fall into that gap of we're building one, and then all of a sudden the exact same house pops up, and you want to do what we call transfer to that other house, and maybe you get a deal on that one, or you're able to move in a lot sooner than waiting 5, 6, or 7 months to get into that new house.
Right. You just answered my next question.
Oh, well, there you go.
I was going to ask about the timeline, like with the quick move in versus if you're building.
Yeah. So, I mean, real quickly, just consider a quick move in like a traditional house on the market with proper financing. As long as no big hiccups come up, you're expected to be moving from start to finish in about 30 days. Now, if we're building, it depends on what price point we're looking at. 1-story versus 2-story, how big of a floor plan we're looking at, because it could be as quick as 3 to 4 months, or as long as a custom build of 8 to 10 or 12 months, or somewhere in between. I would say right now in our metro, San Antonio Metro NSA, we're probably looking anywhere between 4 to 8 months, depending on the quickest to the longest. But that also differs to price and where I'm looking at.
So you're buying new construction. Do you really need a home inspection?
So the best part about that is peace of mind, right? I always say, and I've done it with all my houses, I've done it with everybody that's ever asked me, get the inspection. That way you put it behind you, right? You never want to be sitting in your living room looking at a wall wondering, is that wall kind of crooked, and trying to, debate it from there. I think it's a lot easier for you to have a report saying that everything checks off because now you feel more confident about the process. What I will say is, regardless if you're buying pre-owned or new, always get the inspection. It's probably the best $500 you're ever going to spend. And if you really think about what you spend in a daily and a monthly, rhythm, you spend stuff on other things that really don't protect your investment, right? And if we're going to be protecting our investment, that $500-$600 on that inspection is going to go that extra mile, because even though we buy a brand new house, and I bought many, it's still the process of maybe we could have a little bit more insulation, or maybe this was not 100% there, because I can assure you, you and I aren't going to get on the roof and make sure that the flashing is done right, making sure that everything's kind of nestled into where it should be. More than likely, the warranties are going to cover it anyways, but it's a lot easier for us to know that we don't have to call somebody back because we got ahead of it a little bit sooner. And most builders out there are going to be appeasing to the buyer and say, yeah, absolutely. They have nothing to hide. They want to be able to appease you, make you feel comfortable, because it's all part of the experience. And who knows, every once in a while there might be something that was missed. We've had some that, the AC just wasn't connected at the time, but it was an easy fix. Or, the dishwasher wasn't connected, or the drain plug wasn't removed. I mean, little things like that could, alleviate a headache later. But I think at the end of the day, the best $500 or $600, get an inspection. That way, all you got to do is show the report over to the contractor that's building the house, and they'll take care of it really, really quickly. Now, they're going to address issues that are related to code and functionality of the house. There's a lot of requests. I mean, we could have a request down here in San Antonio that says, hey, we need more support in the attic. Well, to code in Chicago, you probably need more support because of all the snow. We get snow every once in 10 years or something like that. So we probably don't need the same support guidelines as we do here. So most builders are going to build to code. A lot of recommendations, but the recommendations don't do anything other than just say this is what could happen, but it doesn't mean that the house is going to fall over or anything. Like that.
So what's the difference between a blue tape walk and orientation?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people get those confused. And I think at the end of the day, when we do an orientation, that is for you and whoever's going to be a part of the house to understand your house, right? It's like, let's look at the blueprint of the house, not the 2x4s or anything like that. How do I work the AC? If I have a leak, how do I cut off the water? If there's a fire, how do we cut off the electricity? You need to be familiar with that, because in the case of an emergency, you're able to get in there and actually stop the problem from getting worse. Now, on a blue tape walk, consider it cosmetic, right? We're talking paint chips, we're talking trim needing to get painted, we're talking about texture needing to be addressed. Sometimes there's some nicks in the cabinetry or tile or something like that. That's like your, hey, let's get these items taken care of before we close. And the builder does a really, really good job of making sure they get all that stuff done, which is better than what a resale buyer is going to do. They're going to be like, hey, those marks are there. They're there when I got the house. You're going to live with it. Or the builder is going to go a little bit further and make sure that they check all that out So orientation is understanding. It's almost like a little, guide of the home. Who to call if the AC goes out, who to call if we get a leak or the AC won't turn off. Like all those little numbers to call. And then the walkthrough blue tape is going to be more of the cosmetic. Hey, everything looks great, but could you take a look at this or help us fix this?
I've walked into some homes with so much blue tape.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, builders are really, really good at appeasing the buyers, and sometimes it looks like a complete blue tape. Or have you ever seen the gum walls in Seattle where they just put gum off the wall? Kind of looks like that, but I mean, really, they do a really good job of making sure the buyers are taken care of.
So, does new construction come with warranty?
Yes, most builders offer some sort of warranty. It's actually regulated to a certain degree. So sometimes we have a 1 year front door, back door, kind of all the craftsmanship and workmanship portion of it. Then we have a 2 year major mechanical, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, all those components. And then you'll either have a 6 year or a 10 year on the structure. So the new code is 6 year. So you'll see a 126 or a 26, or you might see the original 1210. And all that means is the extension of the slab or the structure warranty. But they're really good. They're peace of mind. You can get on a resale, a home warranty, but it's only going to cover your appliances, your water heater, and AC, where the builder is going to go a little bit further and they're going to make sure that you're protected. And that's why I would say get the inspection. That way, you have the peace of mind of, hey, if anything does, default or break in the future, you got the warranty to back it up. But yeah, most builders have it. And that's the advantage of going brand new, right? You get incentives like we talked about earlier, but then you also get the peace of mind if anything does go wrong, you can call somebody without having to, pay a lot of money.
Right. Is there anything you recommend that buyers should ask or look for specifically?
Like on the warranty, or I think the biggest part is what does it include and who's going to actually facilitate it. There's a lot of builders that will sub that out to a third party, which is fine. I mean, there's a great reputable third party, warranty companies here in our area. And then there's a lot of companies that do that in-house. And I think just having that good relationship with your CM or your construction manager and kind of getting that guideline of who would I call in the case that I have an emergency or an issue.
So it seems like there can be a lot to navigate when purchasing new construction. What would you say your biggest piece of advice is?
My biggest piece of advice is understanding what you want to buy, right? There's a reason why you're looking at this house. There's a reason why you stopped at that model home. I think really identifying what your budget allows for, and then also what your new adventure would. And when I say adventure, do we want a 1-story, 2-story because we have a growing family? Are we downsizing? What does that look for or like in the upcoming 2 years, 6 years, or 5 years? I think really when it comes down to it is understanding why you want to buy and then try to check that box, because once you know what you want to buy, we can help assist you with who would be the best partner, if you will. Because I believe when you enter into a contract with the builder, you're partnering with the builder to get everything you want, making sure that the experience is great, because in any kind of transaction, we want to make sure that the journey is really, really good. And being able to get with reputable builders that are going to back up their word, live by their promises, and abide by their mission statements.
And I know one of the things that we offer at the Schrader Group is our amazing buyer programs, right? That can also help.
So we have all kinds of buyer programs out there. We have our lease buyout. We have our buyer assistance, buyer representation. I mean, we have all kinds of things to help buyers out. But the really important, valuable part is the fact that we have great relationships in town that can navigate you through the incentives, the build process, the inspection process, the orientation, blue walks. What does it look like? Nobody really talks about what's next, what's going to be coming. What does closing look like? All these other things that come into play. We're experts in the field to help you, guide you, and ensure that not just when that transaction is closed, we'll be here. I mean, I haven't changed my number in almost 30 years, so my number's not going to change. But we wanted to build that family feel to ensure that when they're ready to sell or buy or refer, we're top of mind. So we take huge pride in that. And, just the navigation process, there's just so many options out there, and just trying to narrow it down to make sure that we're getting what that person or that family needs in that next purchase.
Yes, you got to make it an enjoyable journey along the way, right?
It's a journey.
So you touched on some of the buyer programs, but what if they have a home to sell?
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where we got our niche, right? We help buyers get into the new homes. And a lot of times people walk in wanting to buy, but then they realize, wait, I have to sell my house first. So we help alleviate that pain point. So we identify the problem. We need to sell in order to buy. But the beautiful thing is we have two programs that help out with that. We have our move up program, which means we'll represent you on the sell of your house and transition you into the new house and represent on both sides, the buy and the sell side, which will end up leaving more money in the pocket for equity and all that hard earned monthly payments that you've been making.
Right.
So you get the biggest bang for your buck there. But in case something happens or the new house is ready before we actually sold it, we have a guaranteed buyout program in which we're still representing on both sides. But we have a buyout program to ensure that you're still going to get into that new home, saving you more money. That way you're able to maximize your equity. And the whole point is trying to make this as seamless as possible, because not only are we still going to navigate you on the buy side and point you in the right direction, we're also going to give you expertise, data and knowledge on the sell side, which means more money in your pocket and ensuring that you're not getting a discount service because we're offering these programs just to get 22 people back at the office representing you guys and ensuring that your house gets total maximum exposure and getting you the most money in your pocket.
If you're looking at new construction or have any questions along the way, please feel free to reach out and subscribe to our channel to learn more.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed day and we'll talk to you soon.